Welcome to the Peachtree Morning Show by DCI. It's a wise way to start the day. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, this is Geshe Michael with along with Seiji Rao Takahashi and Noor Ibrahim, and we're gonna invade your breakfast again this morning, and we're really happy to see all the people around the world joining us for breakfast. And me and Seiji like it because we like to eat. So sometimes we have to do several takes over and over again to get more breakfast. Okay, you guys have a question for us today?
Yes, we have a question from Ice from Guangzhou, China.
Okay.
Hello, dear Gershi, Orin, and Scott. Thanks for your teaching. This is your students come from Guangzhou, China. And today my question is how to eliminate racial discrimination because the new coronavirus, now most of Western people discriminate against Chinese.
Okay. Okay. First of all, it's a very sad question, and it's a very unpleasant situation and very sad in the world. And so I'll start, okay? And then I'll ask you guys what you think. So I not long ago, I was invited to Vietnam, to Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam, and I was asked to give a talk. And there were like 1,000 people, and they were very, very friendly and very, very nice to me. And I remember when I got up to speak, there was a statue next to me, and this statue was Ho Chi Minh. And this is the famous general and leader who beat the American army completely in Vietnam. So it was so strange for me because actually when I was young, when I was in college, they tried to send me to Vietnam to fight, you know. They tried to put me on the list. Luckily, I got out of the list. But it was so strange for me to be in a country where I was supposed to be fighting the same people in the room, you know. And then I want to tell you, from 67 years old, it happens every 20 years, okay? And every 15 years, people in each country, like America, when I was young, very young, we are supposed to not like German people. So I was told by my parents that German people are bad and we don't like German people, you know. Then of course, later in my life, I met German people and we are best friends now. Then after that, when I was in school, elementary school, they told us we have to practice to hide under the table, under our desk. They will ring a bell and we have to run under the desk. And I said, why? And they said, because the Russian people are bad. And Russian people don't like us. And they are going to bomb America and kill all the kids. And so you have to practice, you know. Then when I went to Russia to work on the ancient books, the guys I work with there I worked several months with them. And then they said, how do you like Russia? How do you like Russians? Then I said, well, when I was a small kid, they told us you are bad people. And then now we have a lot of fun together and I love you very much. And then they said, well, what did they tell you about us when you're a kid? I said, they told me you want to bomb us and we have to practice hiding under the desk. And they started laughing. They were really, really laughing. And I said, why are you laughing? This is a very serious thing. And they said, no, our teacher told us the same thing about you, you know.
Wow.
So, and this change nowadays, Arabic people, Islamic people, we are supposed to not like them. And then now in America, start with Chinese people. And it just goes like that. I think so. Don't worry. My experience is just love each other on a small scale, people to people. we can break this racial thing. We just have to work people to people, you know. That's my idea. What do you guys think?
Well, we were, if we start if we keep talking, you know, like on the conventional level, I say the other day we were watching this documentary, and it said something very interesting. It says that it's very easy to put the blame on certain country to say this is the virus from this part, because it eliminates accountability. You know, it says that it was saying a virus is not country specific, it's because of actions. And actually this is very interesting, because it was saying that the real cause of this virus was eating animals, not so much that where it happened. It says all the viruses, big viruses that have happened started like that because we eat animals, the swine flu, the aviary one. Like, so I thought it was very interesting. And I thought it was very interesting how it matches with our system. I don't know, what do you think?
I agree totally with what Geshe Michael said and what Aryu Seiji is saying. Honestly, I think we feel better if we blame someone else on our, I don't know, unhappy events. But on the long run, I learned what I learned with seed system and DCI will make me feel better on the long run. Maybe blaming someone makes me feel good now. Okay, it's your fault, not my fault. But if really we want to see results, it's very good to see. For example, we want now to eliminate discrimination. We can reflect on our small seed we are planting on discriminating. Not necessarily big actions, or maybe sometimes we judge people, we discriminate in our mind, even we are not aware of it. So this comes along with what Geshe Michael said. Let's react from the love point of view, get to connect with each other on small level, and to think that whenever I discriminate someone for any reason, I'm planting seeds for seeing this discrimination more in my life. So the way to eliminate it is to eliminate my behavior of discriminating, I would say.
Right.
I like this seed detective idea, success detective. I enjoy that idea, and I want to give an example in my own life. So I'm very, I know many countries' people. I love many countries' people. We get along very well. But I do have a bad habit. I make stories about people before I know them. So I will see somebody in a restaurant or cafe or on the street, and I will write a whole story in my mind about this person. I will judge who are they, what is their education, what is their viewpoints, you know. And for example, this cafe, which I bought recently, Peachtree Cafe, which by the way, we are still fighting with the local government to open, even just for, we are thinking to give curbside service. And you can come to the window. You don't have to come inside. You will get our famous cinnamon roll. You will get a cup of coffee. And I had a great idea to start changing the habits of this town, because this town is one of the early cowboy towns in America. And the business here for 100 years is killing cows. This is the business of this town. So I thought to I was thinking in my mind a plan for 7 years to get the local people to drink a green drink in 7 years. That was my plan.
Wow.
But now I have a secret plan. When you buy the virus coffee and the virus cinnamon roll, we will give you a small cup of green drink for free.
Oh, nice.
And it's called immunity booster for the virus. And even if you don't like it and you don't like the taste, it will help you. You know,
Like yeah.
So I'm thinking to change my plan 7 years earlier to take the habits of this town, which is a big meat eating town. But anyway, the first time I went to the cafe, this guy is serving coffee. And then I wrote a story about him in my mind. You know, he's a little bit dull, not too intelligent, and he's too lazy to get a really good job, and he probably doesn't have any education. And then later I found out he's the owner of the cafe, He built the cafe with his own hands. He designed it. And he's one of the most famous astronomers in the United States.
Oh my.
And 5 days a week, he's working at the biggest astronomy observatory in this part of the country, in Flagstaff. And he's the director of the engineering there. So, you know, so I mean, I think we plant the seeds for racial discrimination partly when we make stories about other people before we know them. What do you guys think?
Oh my God, it's so easy to do.
But it's also easy to solve. So if we make good stories about people, we plant contra seeds. Right. Like if I see someone who I never met before, why not I invest my seeds in making better story? Like maybe this person, she's so pretty, maybe she was, I don't know, Miss Universe in 2007. She won the best, you know. So I start making positive stories instead of writing the normal stories, which is maybe negative. I don't know. Does it work? Mm-hmm.
That's a cool, and it's more fun, right?
It is, yeah.
Well, and also I was thinking that, again, one of the main things that would come is that discrimination has to go hand in hand with misunderstanding, right? Misunderstanding where the person comes from. I don't know, because I feel like this thing is saying, at least what we're talking about, the topic of today is the fault is that person, but in fact, I'm making a wrong connection between the problem, and then I connect this person that I see, and I see, oh, this person, because it's different, is responsible for this problem. So I guess it's the, like, revising where the person really comes from could help us a lot. I don't know.
From our seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the two husbands in the kitchen thing, you know. I didn't make it so perfect in my own life yet, but I can teach it very well.
We love when you teach us.
Yeah, but, I mean, I need to still practice it in my own life. But I think if you understand that the people who are making racial discrimination are coming from me, then you can stop them. You don't have to get angry at them, or you don't have to be, it's very, it hurts a lot to be discriminated against, you know. And I spent years in India, and I remember people would discriminate against me, and it was very it hurt me a lot, you know. And even to be a Buddhist in America, sometimes you get discrimination, and it's difficult, but I think it's important to remember that it comes from us, you know. And then yeah, Seiji?
I have a question, because I was remembering one of the books that that we're reading in our translation program, the Abhidharma, where it talks about the mental functions, and one of them is discrimination, just basic discrimination. When do you think we go from that basic discrimination of saying this is round and this is flat? Like, do you think from that point we start planting these kind of seeds?
I have this funny theory. And it's, you know, like many deep ideas, it's difficult to express, and it's difficult to understand in one talk. But probably there's a world, you know, there are billions of worlds, there are billions of planets around. We know that. I'll show you I think we talked about it. I like this picture. This is the Dunhuang. This is the library where they found the Diamond Cutter Sutra. And this is Veronica at the library. But on the side is a picture which that astronomer gave to me. And it's each one is a galaxy.
Wow.
Each light has 100 million planets, you know. And so definitely there are people there. And I imagine there's a planet where if your left ear is bigger than your right ear, you are high in society. You are a higher caste in society. And then if your right ear is bigger than your left ear, you are lower caste. So all these things are artificial, I think. So even when we see a difference between white color or blue color and green color. Okay? It's interesting in Sanskrit and Tibetan, the colors, those two colors are the same color. They have the same number, the same name. Blue and green are the same color. So discrimination between those two colors is not coming from its own side. It's coming from us. So if even colors discrimination is coming from us, then of course people discrimination is coming from us. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay.
So what's a practical thing that we can do to stop? Because it's very unpleasant to see this discrimination right now.
I think always the most important thing to do to remember the pen story, to remember everything around us, not only the pen, but people, crisis, everything comes from our own seeds. That gives us the power to take the responsibility to change it, because we can. So I think this is the first thing, and to watch our small discriminative actions or thoughts or I don't know, words I sometimes say, and I told Seji, please stop me when I discriminate, because sometimes I say some words like I judge myself or judge others. So we are starting with these small things. What else would they say?
So I would say, so you're talking more about the things that we should stop, and I think it's good also if we coordinate it with things that we should start doing. For example, seeing the similarities that we have with other people. Or like you said, making good stories about the people that we meet.
Yeah, writing epics.
So like a balance of those two. Stop discriminating and try to do the opposite.
Actually, just quick thing on the conventional level, I learned by working on human rights field, which is basically I was advocate for equality. I realized we are different, like all over the world, we are different, but our beauty comes from this difference. So what if we try to see, like we coffee meditate on the beauty other people or other culture has? So I think this is great, practical and sweet. For example, look at us. We are different from different cultures. We are super different. But we try to appreciate each other every time. And I think our beauty is in our difference, I would like to say.
I have one practical suggestion. Try to eat other people's food in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So try I love, for example, Lebanese. I start to learn Lebanese cooking. And,
I can send you so many recipes.
Oh, just send me one today. I will cook it. But okay, back today. And so I have a very funny suggestion. Is to try to eat another people's food today, or this next 2 weeks. Get a recipe from another culture and just try to cook it, because food is a very basic kind of discrimination, country discrimination. And if you live in New York or something, you eat all the kinds of food and you learn every country is tasty, So that's one idea. And I guess the other idea is let's learn to discriminate bad news and good news. In this virus time. So there's a lot, if you open a newspaper nowadays online, right? You look on the online news, there are some online news companies which like to talk about bad things, the Secretary of State of America accused China of releasing the virus or something like that. So you can read those news, but my suggestion is to look at the positive side. And China just sent a large shipment of masks to New York City, and a Chinese researcher in America is helping to make the new vaccination. He's from China, he lives in America, and he's making one of the best laboratories for vaccination. So I think let's focus on these. We are all in trouble right now. The cool thing about this virus, there's not one person who is not in danger. Everybody's in danger. Even the president of England got the virus, So it doesn't matter where you are, who you are. This virus is not discriminating. And so it kind of brings us all together, I think. So focus on that. Don't listen to these I will say idiot people who talk about racial discrimination at this time. They are really stupid people. The virus has no discrimination. We are all the same.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so
You
much.
got another question for next time?
Yes,
Yeah.
so
Who tomorrow is the Tarangos from Ukraine.
yeah, tomorrow we have the triangles, and we have a question from this lady called Wei Yi. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. And here's the question.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Wei Yi. I'm from China. I always lack confidence on myself. So I want to plant the seed by supporting others to get success. But in my subconscious, I realize that I feel very difficult to believe that the people close to me, for example, parents or husband, they can get success. So I want to ask that how can I get the real confidence to them and to myself? Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Great question.
Okay, so see you guys tomorrow.
Thank
See
you.
you guys
Vito.
tomorrow for breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, I will make some. I will make some coffee. What do you call it, cinnamon rolls, and I will eat them in honor of you two.
Oh, great.
Excellent. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you.
Bye.
Thanks for watching today's Peachtree Morning Show. See you next time.